Today I'm sharing how to sew on a waistband on a skirt or trousers with a flat front and elastic back. I've got some practical examples of how this can serve you in your sewing, so stay tuned. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina. This is Lifting Pins and Needles, a channel all about sewing, limitless sewing. Welcome if you're always stopping by, and if you're new and you like to sew, you will see a lot of that here on this channel, where I bring to you twice weekly videos all about sewing with a lot of practical sewing footage that you can see. If you have been celebrating the holidays and Christmas, I wish you all a Merry Christmas. We have been here very quietly just celebrating with our family. As a little update, I've been really sick. I got an ear infection a few days ago and had the most agonizing night of ear pain. It's this ear. Terrible. I would rather have a baby and a natural birth than the pain I had in my ear the other night. But halfway through an antibiotic treatment, and I feel today that my voice, I can hear it normally, because I was just basically not hearing from this side. Just the whole ear was blocked and painful, and yeah, very times. But it's getting better, and it's not the first time I've had an ear infections. They tend to get at me every 2 to 3 years, you know. But that has been my Merry Christmas with an earache. I hope yours was better. We've had a lovely time here with my parents at their home, with my brother and his family, so it's all been very enjoyable, very small, very calm, the way we like to celebrate. I had promised I was going to show you how to sew on a waistband, and the other day I showed you my Winslow culottes from Helen's Closet in this grey tencel twill, and the one with the slits. If you haven't seen the video, go back and look at it so you get what I'm talking about. There is a flat front waistband and an elastic at the back, and this is a hack that is in the Helen's Closet blog, an idea that you can make. I did modify it slightly by adding on box pleats at the back to reduce the volume, because it was quite a bit. But actually the way I put on the waistband and did the elastic here is the same. I would do it on another pattern, could actually also be a skirt. So I am showing you how to do that step by step, and then I'm going to show you how this can also work for other things, even things you might already have in your wardrobe. So let's hop into the practical sewing of a waistband. And I know it's not conventional, you might like it. Here is my waistband partially interfaced. This is the middle area here. I have a little crease there to mark the center front, so it's been interfaced there. The back sort of starts there and there, the side seam, and then it's not interfaced. I have sewn a guide stitch at 5/8 of an inch here and pressed one of these sides up. The other side is raw. This is the side I'm going to be attaching to the waist of the culottes, and then to fold over, this side is already done. So I folded that at 5/8, and then I'm going to be sewing to the waist at 3/8, and then when I fold this, it'll make the exact width I need for the elastic I have. I'm not sure what elastic, or I don't know. I'm just going to make this waistband work for the elastic I have, and I'm going to be attaching this untraditionally to the culotte, so I'm going to show you. Okay, I've pinned the waistband to the waist of the culottes, and it's going to look super wrong. This is the front center seam. These are the pleats right there, and behind I have a waistband that I have attached right side of the waistband to the wrong side of the culottes, as you can see there. So you have the right side of the fabric here and the wrong side there, and in there, right to wrong. And now when I sew this together at 3/8 of an inch, I'll be able to then push the seam allowance up and bring this that has already been pressed right there on top. And so then I can match that little seam I'm going to have, and have this cover it by like 1 millimeter, and then I can repin it, and then the top stitching that I do for this waistband will be catching this on the visible side where I can see it on the right side of the culottes. And at the back here, it will already have been sewn on. Now I mentioned that the back I was going to have excess, where the center back seam is there, I'm just meeting these two there, and I'm going to sew that together there and then trim that off. I have sewn that center back seam of the waistband there. That is going to match the center back seam of the culottes there. Press it open and press the guiding stitch. And so now I've just got to sew this on. I'm using 3/8 of an inch to do this. After sewing on the waistband, you can see the seam allowance there. I went and pressed it up so it's all nice and neat from there. And now I just have to grab this and start folding it over onto here, and I'm gonna just about cover that seam right there, and I'll go pinning all the way around and then hand basting. This is how the waistband looks after it's been hand basted. This is one side seam, so I'm going to leave about an inch open there, and the same on this side seam right there, about an inch open, and I'll be sewing the rest right there on the edge. This is one of the side seams there, and I have an opening where I'm going to put this elastic with a safety pin through there. And once I have this around there, just a little bit further towards the front, I'm just going to stitch right there on the waistband, and then keep pushing this elastic across this whole back part of the waistband until I can get the safety pin out of this other opening on the other side seam. Once I have it past just a little bit, I'm going to put pins here and remove my safety pin, and then sew on the other side, and then all this back will be gathered. This is where I started putting the elastic through, and you can see the elastic is in there, and the seam there and the elastic goes forth about 3/8 of an inch, and I've got a pin there. So before it moves around, I'm just going to sew that there, sew that closed, and then do the same on the other side. That's where I started. This is usually easier, just sewn there, and now you can see all the gathering that forms at the back, and I can touch here where the elastic is just right there beyond that seam there towards the front. I have my safety pin here, so I've just pinned that there. And now this is a little bit tricky sometimes to get the safety pin out. Okay, so that's out, and now I can just sew that there and then sew that there. I went down and back again just to reinforce that, because there is stress on that elastic. I don't want just a single little seam there to hold it together. So that's how that looks there, and on the other side there, and the elastic is all in there. So you saw that I put the waistband on non-traditionally. You know, I didn't put it as you usually would, the waistband right side to right side, and then flip it under. You know, usually when you do that, if you don't hand baste, which I think 99.9% of seamstresses don't hand baste the waistbands, you know, the pins can shift and you can miss spots inside here when you're sewing the waistband down. By doing it the way I did it from the inside, so by flipping it forward, then from the inside it's already sewn, and when you're top stitching on the front of the pants or skirt, you can actually see what you're doing, and you can actually catch the waistband in its entirety. So this is the way I like doing cuffs, bands on sleeves, you know, bands on bottom of things, just the other way around, so that the top stitching is on the right side of the garment where I can see and control how neat it's going to be. So that's just the way I like to do it, and the way I did this waistband. So you saw it was very easy to thread the elastic through, a little bit fiddly to get the safety pin out on the other side, but all very doable. Now, a few months ago, if you've been following along, you know my mum and dad went to visit me in Brazil. While they were there, I made my mum a lot of clothes, some simple ones, some more complex. She also took some clothes from my wardrobe for herself. So I'm going to show you one thing. Months and months ago, I think in July, I made this skirt for myself out of this printed linen. It's lovely. And I used the skirt pieces from the lyric dress from Love Notions to make skirts. In that opportunity, I made myself 2 skirts, and I had a video showing how different they looked. One in linen, a bit more structured, and the other one in rayon. So she saw that one when she watches my videos, and she's like, I want it, you know. So when she came to see me in Brazil, I gave it to her. She tried it on, and as usual, the waistband was loose on her. I am larger than she is. I'm taller and larger, so she needed that waistband brought in. But what did I do instead? I just threaded an elastic through it at the back. Now all I did, because the waistband was already sewn on, I just undid a piece here on the side seams. I just undid that piece, and I did the same as you saw in the process video. Threaded the elastic through, caught it on one side, kept threading it until I met the other side, pinned it, sewed it, and then pulled that safety pin out of the opening, and then just sewed the sides there. So you can see the elastic has been sewn there to meet the side seams there, although there isn't a seam there on the waistband, and same as here on the other side. And this way I didn't have to alter the skirt at all, you know, it just brings it in the little bit she needed it for it to stay up comfortably, but also be comfortable. She suffers from major waist fluctuations, as I think a lot of women do. You know, there's lots of issues with bloating and other issues, and she always likes to have a waistband that will expand or shrink, and that's where the elastic comes in at the back and is super comfortable. This way she can wear this skirt perfectly. Because she's a little bit shorter, the skirt is a little bit longer on her where she likes it, sort of just below the knee, mid-knee, you know. So I think it was a lovely fit for her. I had intended to make it for myself, but you know, I'm always happy to give something to her. When I was a teen, I would take things from her closet, you know. So it's all good. After doing that little fix on that skirt, I went ahead and made her another one, and actually just kept the same size I had made for myself, and did the same thing with the waistband at the back. So this is another skirt, the same pattern, the lyric dress skirt pieces. The only difference is that with this crepe, it's cut on the bias. So you can see that these squares are now in this direction with a point there and there. This is the grain line going down like that originally. So it's just the same skirt, it's just a little bit more flowy, cut on the bias, same buttons there. Waistband sewn in the same way, and with the perfect little elastic back there that gives the comfort and makes the skirt fit really well. So you know, these techniques, although I'm showing you how to do this on a pair of culottes, you know, you can apply the same principles and add them to things that may be a bit loose on you that you have in your wardrobe. You think you know you might need to alter the whole pant to make it fit your skirt. You might not need to if you just add a little elastic at the back, and it's not hard to do. So I hope I've inspired you to dig into your closet and make your items wearable again if you've been hoarding them, you know. Or just another way to add on waistbands. When you have another project with one, you might like to think about that and see if you like to give this technique a go. I have great results, you know, very neat waistbands, and once you just start doing them over and over again, it just gets easier and easier, and there's no need to be scared of waistbands, you know. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out all the sewing content. Tap on that bell so you know when I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye, happy sewing.